Welcome to What Really Matters podcast, Everyday Spirituality with Karen Wyatt. Thanks for joining me here today. This episode is being released on Valentine's Day. So if you're listening in real time, happy Valentine's Day to you. And Valentine's Day has also inspired the message for today, which is about love, loving kindness specifically. And one reason this topic came to mind is because over the past several months, I have been following the journey of the Buddhist monks who walked from Austin, Texas to Washington, D.C. in the Walk for Peace. And they have just been so inspiring to me, following their journey every day. And today is the day they're returning back to Austin. Their journey has been completed, amazingly so, because they had to walk through ice storms and terrible weather, and had to survive an accident where one of the monks was hit by a car and lost his leg. And I know some of them experienced illness along the way, but still managed to keep going. And the leader of the walk has spoken several times about loving kindness and a practice, the Lovingkindness Blessing, or it is called Metta, M-E-T-T-A. And that is a practice that I've been using for years now. And so I decided I wanted to share that with you. I've shared it before, but today seemed like the perfect day to bring it up again and share it, because it is exactly what the world needs right now. It is what will help each one of us stay sane. It's a small, simple practice, and I'm going to describe it for you, but I wanted to start with a little Valentine's Day story from the past. And then we'll get into the blessing, and I'll even tell you my history with the blessing and how I got started using it. So to begin with, several years ago, I spent a weekend in Los Angeles. I was in Los Angeles for an interview that I was doing, or that I was being interviewed in Los Angeles, and it happened to be over Valentine's Day. So I was there all by myself, staying in a little hotel downtown, and where I was, able to get to the studio where I needed to do the interview. And on Valentine's Day morning, I woke up and went for a walk through downtown, and really new to Los Angeles. I hadn't ever spent very much time there before. I'm kind of more of a small town girl, and have lived in mountains, near mountains or in the mountains, for nearly all of my life. So on my walk through Los Angeles, I saw a number of unhoused people who were sleeping on the streets, covering themselves with cardboard, huddled into little doorways, door fronts in front of various businesses, and covered maybe with trash bags, and with their few minimal belongings around them. And I was shocked, and not that I was unaware of cities that have unhoused people, but it was just so visible to me in that moment on my morning walk, because I was seeing these people where they sleep at night. I was seeing the conditions in which they sleep on concrete at night, and struggling to stay warm enough. And my heart just broke open. I felt so much compassion, and I wanted to do something. I didn't know what I could do, but I wanted to reach out in some way and to help. And I had known that many of these people may be dealing with addictions, and that giving them money it is not necessarily the most helpful thing, because it might be used for something that could cause more harm. I wanted to find a way to give them food, and I didn't know exactly what to do. As I was walking and thinking about, oh wow, it's Valentine's Day. What a way to spend my Valentine's Day, and contemplating all of this, I remembered a little storybook that my kids had when they were growing up called Somebody Loves You, Mr. Hatch. In the story, Mr. Hatch is kind of a grumpy, angry, older man who lives by himself, has no friends, doesn't like anyone, is really miserable in his life. And one day he receives a heart-shaped box of candy in the mail that just says on it, "Somebody loves you." And receiving that box of candy actually changed everything for him, because he started thinking about the fact that, wow, somebody out there loves me. I don't know who it is. And he started treating the people around him differently because it intrigued him. What if that's the person who loves me, who gave me the candy? So he started smiling at people. He started reaching out a little bit more. He actually started sharing the candy with neighbors and other people he encountered. And over time, he began to make friends. He began to make connections with the people around him, all because of the idea that somebody loved him. And so that story came to my mind as I was walking through the streets of Los Angeles. And I said, these people need to know that somebody loves them. They need that feeling of being loved somehow and cared for. And up ahead, I saw a Wendy's restaurant. And this isn't an ad for Wendy's, but that happened to be what was there on the street in proximity. And so on a whim, I went into Wendy's and I bought a big stack of gift cards, and they gave me little poster board mailer things, little that folded poster board that I could slip the gift card into and write a little note on. So I wrote on each one of the little cards, "Somebody loves you." And I went back out on the street and repeated the same walk. And I gave out those gift cards to Wendy's, to each unhoused person that I saw. And I'm not telling you this like to say, wow, look at what a great person I am. Only that I was just acting in the moment on intuition, a need to do something. And was it assuaging my guilt? Well, yes, probably. And was it something big or important? No, it was a tiny, tiny gesture. But it felt like for Valentine's Day, I was doing a little small thing, giving something. So I went to each person. I spoke to them and said, it's Valentine's Day. I wanted to wish you a happy Valentine's Day and to let you know that somebody loves you. And I handed them the gift card for Wendy's. And many of the people just stared at me like, what? Who are you? What are you doing? Some of them looked at me like, are you crazy or what? A few of them said thank you and seemed to acknowledge what this was and what it meant. One man was clearly impaired. He was kind of drooling, had like vomited on himself. He was in a real state of distress, and he didn't seem to even recognize what I was doing, but I gave him my message, somebody loves you, and I handed him the gift card. At the end of it all, I thought, wow, that was probably nothing. Like those cards will get thrown away or they'll be traded for drugs. I probably didn't make a difference. Maybe that was dumb. Maybe I didn't do anything, when there's such a huge need. This was such a tiny thing to do. But it was a way on Valentine's Day to have my own little celebration of love, in a sense, doing an act of love, of kindness for someone. So I went about my day, had to go do my interview, was busy with other things throughout the day. That evening, I went out for another walk at the end of the day before I went to bed. And I walked past Wendy's again, and I looked inside, And the man that in the morning had been so impaired and was out of it was sitting inside Wendy's, and he had cleaned himself up. He had a sweater on that was all buttoned up. He had combed his hair and washed his face, and he had a tray in front of him, and he was eating a meal at Wendy's on Valentine's Day. And I almost burst into tears because that man had dignity, because he was eating in a restaurant and the food was paid for, and he felt like just a normal person, just a normal customer eating a dinner at Wendy's. And in just that moment, I saw the power of tiny acts of kindness, the things that we might do on a whim without having any idea, did this matter? Does it do anything? Does it make any difference? But to trust it when you get the intuitive hit, do something right now, even if it's the tiniest little thing, smiling at someone, reaching out, saying hello, asking, do you need a hand? Do you need help? Can I carry this for you? The tiniest little thing that you do could make a much bigger difference than you can imagine. And the idea is to send out the message, somebody loves you. Somebody loves you. That is so powerful when you think about it, to carry that in your mind, that somebody loves me. Somebody is caring about me. And right now, this is the kind of energy that we need to be putting out into the world. So I wanted to start with that little story, the power of kindness, the power of love. No matter how, we may have very limited resources ourselves, but any tiny act of kindness toward another person can make a difference that could be far more powerful than you can imagine. And so for me, that is the motivation behind Metta, the Lovingkindness Blessing, is the idea that saying this blessing, allowing it to change us and change our own energy field, is a way that we impact the world around us. And it puts us into a right frame of mind, into emotions that are positive and powerful, and opens our hearts to express more love. So I'll move on. I'll tell you another story, I guess. I want to tell you about my version of the Lovingkindness Blessing. Not mine, the version I was taught, which is a little different than the version the Buddhist monks were teaching in Washington, D.C. after they completed the Walk for Peace. But there are many different versions of this blessing. So I will share with you the one that I learned a long time ago that I still say every day, that is so very valuable. But here's a little story behind it that I'm going to tell you to show you the power of it. Then we'll go through the blessing itself, and I'll teach it to you so that you can start using it as a tool that I think is really important and powerful right now in our world. So back when I was a hospice medical director, one day, on a very busy day when I had a lot of visits to make to patients, a lot of administrative work to do, I got a phone call that there was a problem with a patient who was in a nursing home that happened to be about an hour's drive with traffic away from where I lived. And I got a phone call from the nursing home director that the patient, there was a woman who was dying of cancer in the nursing home, and her husband had repeated negative interactions with the staff of the nursing home. And the nursing home director called and said, he's impossible. We can't keep doing this. We are thinking we're going to transfer the patient out of here. somewhere else because we can't deal with her husband. He's so disruptive, and he's been disrupting other patients and the staff. He's so angry, and his anger is more like rage, and it's affecting everyone in our facility. And we just can't have them here anymore. And you need to come here. You need to come here and help us figure out what to do. And so I was upset. As I said, it was a very busy day. I had so much work to do, and I had to drive for an hour to get to the nursing home and another hour back home. I didn't have the time to spend doing that, but it was my job. That was part of my responsibility to show up at times like this and see if I could help and make a difference. So I was not happy. And I'd already heard a lot of stories about this man. I'd never met him before, but I didn't like him. I was angry at him and upset that he was disrupting my day now with his behavior. So I was loading up my car to get ready to go on this drive I didn't want to do to see the man I didn't want to deal with. And I threw my planner in on the seat, my physical planner where I wrote all my notes and my schedule, and it fell off the seat onto the floor and fell open to a page in the back of the planner. And I got in the car and I picked my planner up off the floor to put back on the seat, and I noticed the page that it had fallen open to was a page of notes that I had taken at a workshop that I'd done a number of years before. So my planner was a refillable planner, but I had this section of just note paper in the back where I kept certain notes and certain things that were important to me. And on this page that my planner fell open to was written the Lovingkindness Blessing, which someone taught at the workshop I'd attended years before that. And there it was in my notebook. I read that blessing and I knew instantly it was not a mistake that my planner fell on the floor and fell open to this page. This blessing is the very thing that I needed in that moment. And it said, here is the blessing that was written in my notebook. May I be at peace. May my heart remain open. May I realize the beauty of my own true nature. May I be healed. May I be a source of healing for this world. I read those 5 lines and I was instantly, I felt convicted in a sense. I felt confronted in a sense, like, oh my goodness, I am none of these things. I'm not at peace. In fact, I'm very riled up and upset. My heart is not open at all. I'm angry at this man and I want to go yell at him. And am I aware of the beauty of my own true nature? I don't feel beautiful. I don't feel my higher self right now. I'm in my lower self, feeling angry and upset and imposed upon because my day has been interrupted. May I be healed? Well, maybe, certainly. I had a lot of things I needed to be healed from. And I was not being a source of healing for the world, definitely when I was acting in anger. So, as I said, in the moment I read it, I knew instantly, this is a message. This is the attitude I need to have. So I put that page from my planner on the dashboard of the car. And as I was driving, I started saying that loving kindness blessing to myself over and over again. May I be at peace. May my heart remain open. May I realize the beauty of my own true nature. May I be healed. May I be a source of healing for this world. I started repeating it. And gradually, as the miles wore on, I started to soften. I started to relax. I started to let go of all of that anger. I started to see, okay, I need to view this circumstance that I'm in as the perfect thing. It's fine. It's all okay. I can give up this time for this drive. I can go there and see what I can do. I gradually began to let go of all that and to move myself into a state where I was in the present moment and releasing anger and annoyance and frustration that I had felt earlier, because I understood they were not going to serve me well in this situation. So over the miles, as I drove and kept repeating the loving kindness blessing, I found myself changing in the best way possible. And I got the idea then, I need to say this blessing for him, for the man that I'm going to be going to talk to. And so I turned it around and spoke the blessing for him, sending the energy of that blessing out to him. May you be at peace. May your heart remain open. May you realize the beauty of your own true nature. May you be healed. May you be a source of healing for this world. So for the rest of the journey, I said it over and over again for him. And as you might imagine, when I arrived at the nursing home, I was in a completely different state than I was when I left my home to drive there. And saying that blessing had transformed me in the most amazing way. So I walked into the nursing home. I went to the patient's room. And I stopped in the doorway for just a moment and looked in, and I saw this man, the husband, bending over his wife in bed, and I saw him caring for her. And he pulled the sheet up around her and then the blanket, and he smoothed them all around her. And then he brushed her hair back from her face with his fingers. He put both hands on her cheeks. He gazed at her. He was speaking something softly to her. And as I watched that little scene, I understood everything so clearly. His heart is breaking, and he loves this woman so very much. And he's in this moment where he knows he's losing her, and he simply can't bear the pain of it. And it's all coming out as anger. He can't really share the pain. He doesn't know how to talk about it. He doesn't know how to ask for help with the pain. It's just coming out as anger, and he's exploding at everyone in the nursing home about every little tiny thing that happens, because his heart is in so much pain and he doesn't know how to carry that. So I walked into the room without saying a word. He was holding one of her hands, and I walked around to the other side of the bed and I held her other hand, and I said to him softly, I'm here from the hospice. And I just held her hand, and I just stood there with him and held space and waited there with him. And in a few moments, he let go of her hand, and somehow, without speaking any words, both of us did. We let go of her hands. She was asleep, and we walked over to two chairs in the corner and sat down. And I didn't have to say much of anything to him. I sat with him. He knew that I came from the hospice, and I sat with him, and he looked up at me and he said, "Did I ever tell you the story of how she and I met?" And I said, "Oh no, please tell me." And so I sat with him while he told me story after story about his love for his wife, about their love affair, this relationship they'd had for all the years, about everything that he was losing and saying goodbye to in that moment. And he turned out to be a wonderful person. He completely softened, and what I was able to see when I got out of my own head, my own emotions, my own anger, I saw it so clearly for what it was, and that that made all the difference, because I was able to open myself and just be a vessel for him that could help him hold his pain, hold his love and his pain, his grief, but his amazing memories all at once. And just by sitting with him in that space for that time, it changed everything. The patient died a couple of days later. The nursing home director called me and said the husband was a changed man, that he was gentle. There were no more disruptions. He didn't yell at the staff. He accepted their help. He talked with them. He expressed his sorrow, and they were able to be there for him. And his wife's death was peaceful and beautiful. And I am telling you that blessing in that moment, I understood, like, that loving kindness blessing helped me change my energy field in the way I needed to, in order to be the kind of hospice doctor I should be, in order to step into that role in the present moment with the kind of attitude and the kind of energy that I should have, that I needed to have, in order to be of service, in order to be helpful to the patient, to her husband. And so I recognize what a powerful tool that blessing was, because it had the ability to shift me very quickly out of my powerful emotions, negative emotions, those circling thoughts that were going through my mind, the loops of negativity and judgment and blame that were going through my mind. The loving kindness blessing shifted me out of all of that and into this powerful state of love. And so I began using it every single day. And I began saying it for myself, saying it for other people, but it became part of my meditation and contemplation practice, part of my journaling. I journal about it, something I gravitate toward in a tough situation. If I feel like, like I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm beginning to spiral a little bit, I take a deep breath, I say the loving kindness meditation, and it always returns me to the place of equanimity where I need to be. So I want to repeat it for you a couple of times. And I will link to a page where you can download a written copy of it if you'd like. And maybe you have heard a different version of Metta or the loving kindness blessing, which is fine. You can use any version. You don't have to use what I use. I just wanted to share that with you because it's the one that I know. So here are these 5 powerful lines. Once again, I'll say them twice. May I be at peace. May my heart remain open. May I realize the beauty of my own true nature. May I be healed. May I be a source of healing for this world. May you be at peace. May your heart remain open. May you realize the beauty of your own true nature. May you be healed. May you be a source of healing for this world. And so on this Valentine's Day, I just want to say to you, remember always, somebody loves you. Somebody loves you so deeply, so much, just for being who you are. You are loved. Don't ever forget that, and let it shine within you for everyone else to see. The world needs it so desperately. And I will close with my tagline I always use, which is that we're here for that kind of love. That's one of the reasons we're here on this planet, and maybe particularly right now at this time in history, we are here for love. We're here to bring love, show love, share love in every way possible, to give it away, and also to receive it and to love ourselves as well. Somebody loves you. Make sure, one, somebody who loves you is you. And also remember, if we are here for love, then we are here for grief as well, because they go hand in hand. And so be willing, when you open your heart, when you're being at peace, to know that you are carrying equal amounts of grief and love within you, because love opens you to grief, to the pain of loss. And love makes you vulnerable to that loss. But grief is the other side, the other half of what we're here to learn. Love and grief, they come together. So face your fear, whatever frightens you, be willing to look at it and face it head on. Be ready for whatever life brings you next. And remember that life is a mixed bag. It's full of all kinds of ups and downs. And be open and ready for all of it, whatever it may be. And then also just stay in the present moment and love each and every one of those moments, because this is a precious, fleeting opportunity we have to be here on this planet right now on this very Valentine's Day. And so somebody loves you, and one of those somebodies is me. I send you all of my love and loving kindness in this moment. Bye-bye.